this video, we will show how to stream trace-only information from a Spectrum block via the HTTP server to a client. This is the mission we will use. It may look a little complicated at first glance, but we will step through it quickly. We start with the Spectran V6 Eco receiver. Its IQ stream is sent into an IQ Power Spectrum block, which converts the IQ data into Spectrum information. In the first Spectrum block, we are only interested in the trace data. That trace information is then sent to an HTTP server block. On the client side, we connect to the server using an HTTP client block pointing to the local host address. In practice, you can stream this trace data to any reachable server or client, not just the local machine. The stream from the HTTP client block is fed into a second Spectrum block called Spectrum 2. This allows us to compare the original Spectrum data with the trace-only data that is being streamed. At the same time, the streamed data is also sent to a file writer block. Because we are only recording the trace, you can see a significant reduction in data volume compared to recording full spectrum or IQ data. There is also a control sequencer block in this mission. This will be covered in more detail in another video, but here it allows us to start everything with a single button. Using one click in the ribbon bar, we can start the streaming, start the trace recording in the file writer, and start all the related blocks at the same time. Before we run the sequence, let's look at the key setting in the Spectrum block. Since we are recording and streaming the trace, there is one configuration that you need to be aware of. Open the configuration menu of the Spectrum block and go to the View section. Scroll down to the Output Trace setting. Here, you choose which trace will be sent to the HTTP server. In this example, we have selected the average trace, but you can define other traces, such as max hold, that can be streamed as well. Those traces are configured in the Traces section of the Spectrum block settings. Now, we are ready to start the system. Click the Control Sequencer button. You can see that streaming begins automatically, and the recording in the file writer starts at the same time. In the file writer block, you can monitor the write rate and the total amount of data being written. This confirms that the trace stream is being recorded. If we slide the window to focus on the first Spectrum block, remember that this block is generating the trace that we are exporting. For example, the max hold trace. Now, if we look at the Spectrum 2 block after the HTTP client, we see exactly the same max hold trace being visualized. The HTTP client receives the stream trace from the server, and the Spectrum 2 block displays it. At the same time, the same stream data is written to disk by the file writer. In this video, we focused on how to record and stream the trace from a Spectrum block via the HTTP server, send it to a client, visualize it, and optionally record it to a file. For more information, check out our other videos on our YouTube page or visit erroniausa.com.